Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into this video, I wanted to let you know that if you want to book coaching calls or tarot readings, my website is in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Now let's head into the video. I have this feeling that right now everything that's happening in our world and just all the craziness, there's so much insight and so much to be learned from the Devil card in tarot. I really feel that we're moving out of this period of time, and I don't know, I've just been getting so many messages and so much insight into this card. I wanted to make this video for like two reasons. One, I was feeling called to it, and two, it's like on one hand, I want to bring insight to the Devil card so people aren't fearing it when they see it in tarot readings. And on the other hand, if you do happen to be seeing it a lot in your tarot readings, or you happen to be noticing these signs and you keep coming across these things in your life, then maybe there's like a message here that will help you. So that was kind of like, those were kind of the reasons why I wanted to make this. I don't really know how this video is going to go. I'm just going to kind of go with it. Of course, the Devil, from like right off the bat, people are kind of scared of it, but also it can represent like evil things, and that's definitely an aspect of it. There's no reason to fear the Devil. That is what I've been really learning, because the Devil does not have any creative power. The Devil cannot create. And when we are in this sort of situation, when we are stuck in this sort of situation, we notice, or we will tend to see, that our creative power is completely diminished or is very reduced, because we're not in that energy of creation, we're in the energy of consumption. Overconsumption. Like, overconsumption can be heavily related to this card as well. What this card kind of represents is that when you tend to put the material world above your spirit and your internal world, you'll notice that you feel more and more stuck in it. You feel heavier and weighed down. And that's why the two people are in chains here. They're chained down, but they're chained down by their own doing. They're not being kept there for any other reason other than the fact that they want to, on some level, stay there. And that is one of the other things that is just so important to understand about this card, is that like, you almost choose your own suffering because it seems more comfortable than leaving that situation, than the unknown, than taking your power back. Because in this situation, you're giving your power away to another source, to another person, to another thing, to whatever it is. You're giving your power away, because it's almost scarier to take responsibility and accountability of your power, of you, and of the actions you take, because of the fact that there might be outcomes that you don't like from that, you know? So in a way, it seems easier to give that power away, but really the deep insight of this card is like, it's actually not easier, because you know internally that you're giving your power away. It's almost like you have this, you're at a conflict internally with yourself. And so while it seems easier to do, it's actually not. It's just as difficult. A fear of bondage, ironically, keeps you stuck and in deeper bondage. So again, the powers of the Devil come from fear. And we can experience fear and not have to dwell in it, not have to live in it, not allow that fear to hold us back. It is okay for us to experience fear. It's a natural emotion, but that doesn't mean that we have to hold ourselves back from doing whatever it is that we fear, unless the thing that we fear is not in alignment with us. Then it's probably best not to walk down that path. You could be resisting the truth because it's easier to be comfortably trapped over uncomfortably free. That was huge for me. That was really big, a really big insight for me. It's like, whoa, I would rather when I was going through this moment in my life, I would rather be stuck in this situation simply because it's comfortable, or it's not even comfortable. It's just what I know. It's familiar. And because it's familiar, I would rather stay in this familiar state of discomfort than enter an unfamiliar state of discomfort that is actually more aligned and more freeing for me, more in alignment with the life that I want. And when I realized that, so many things started to shift in my life, because I was like, okay, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to live like that. And it took so many years for me personally. I hope it doesn't take, like, if you are in that position right now, I really hope it doesn't take you that many years, but however long it takes, because this is part of our journey, and that's part of our growth. However long it takes, just know it's like being stuck, being in that trapped energy just for the familiar is not going to bring you the growth that you want. You might even know that, and that's okay if it takes you a little bit to move through that, even if you recognize that. Because as long as you are making strides to move through that, that's all that matters. You know, like with the devil card, as long as we are recognizing that, okay, clearly, like, I'm keeping myself stuck right now and I don't want this anymore, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to move through this. As long as we are doing that, even if we fall back, even if we have moments of relapse, that's okay. You know, like, one thing that's hitting me is when I was quitting smoking and drinking, it took me a while. Like, I went back and forth several times before I officially, like, completely finished and, like, was done with it, you know? But through that journey, I learned so much. I had so much growth. So yeah, I was stuck and it wasn't fun, and I knew I shouldn't be doing this because it was not in alignment with me anymore. But it took me a while to get out of that situation. And there was many times where I fell back on it. And that's okay too. Because just because we fall back into this trap doesn't mean we have to stay there forever. The devil has no power over us unless we give him power. There is no power. He has no power. He has nothing like over us, truly. No control over us. No way of dictating what we do in our life. It's just an illusion. It's literally an illusion of control, an illusion of power over us. There's this saying of like the powers that be, but the powers that truly be lie within us. We hold those powers. So nobody, not a single thing in this world has power over us. It is all an illusion. We hold that power within us. And I think that's the greatest lesson that we can learn through the devil, or through this time period of the devil in our lives, is that nothing has power over us. It might seem like it does, but it's an illusion. And we can take our power back at any moment. Even if you relapse, or even if you fall back into those patterns, you can get back out of it. Like, there's nothing that will permanently chain you down. Sometimes when this card shows up, it's like you're obsessing over a situation that you have no control over. You're obsessing over situations that you can't actually change in any way, rather than focusing on what you can change, what is in your control. So like in our lives, we can have moments where we feel like extremely burdened by the things that we cannot control, that we can't change, because they're impacting us in a way that we don't like. And of course, like, you know, those are really difficult moments to navigate, because you can't, again, you know you can't do anything, and that is very frustrating. That's kind of where like the inner work and that understanding comes in, to be like, okay, fine. This is clearly a frustrating situation. I can't control those things, whatever those things are. What can I do though? Like, what is in my power to do to help me navigate the situation. And that's kind of when you start to see yourself move out of this devil position and move into like taking your power back into almost like the magician position, or even the lovers. Like you're starting to enter this mode of creating, of looking inward, because another aspect, just a side note, aspect of the lovers card is also an internal thing. It's like looking within, you know, seeing the love within. And sometimes when we are lost or we're going through a period of confusion and confliction in our life, we can tend to find it easier to give our power to somebody else to help us to help direct us, to help place that responsibility on that other person, because we feel so lost and confused at this moment that we can't really make a decision. We don't know what we want to do. We don't know what path to take. We don't know where to go from here. So in those moments, I think it's really important to sit with that feeling of confusion and confliction, to sit in that discomfort and hear out what is going on within you, to hear all the messages that are coming to you, and slowly but surely, like with the faith that you have power, and so ultimately you're going to be able to get yourself out of this, even if it takes a while, slowly but surely taking one step at a time to see, does this work? Does this work? Is this going to bring me where I want to go? Like, okay, I'm confused, but let me just try this. If it doesn't work, I'll try the other thing. So even if we enter that state of confusion, because I feel like sometimes we can enter that state of confusion and confliction in our life, and then stay stuck in it. And that's really when we give our power away. We start to give our power away to these illusions, to these other things outside of us, because we feel so confused and stuck. And we don't know what to do. And it seems easier in that moment to just be like, okay, fine, this person is saying this, I'm just going to go with it. And we've all been through that. We all go through that. And that's completely okay. But just know that you still have the power to take it back. You can take your power back. And you can be like, nah, I don't want to go down that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I might be confused, but I'm going to sit through this confusion. I'm going to see the insight I can gain through this moment. And I trust that I have the ability to move through this. One of the things that I wrote down when I was going through this period of being trapped down, and when I would get tarot readings, the devil popped up a lot in that time frame. I wrote it down. Why? Because I sat with it. I was like, why is the devil keep popping up? Like, what's happening here? And the message that I got was because I was feeling trapped and chained down to my circumstance, not realizing that I was actually keeping myself there. There was options in front of me. There were many things that I could have done to get out of that situation, or to change that situation and to like make the situation better, but I was adamantly refusing to see those things because I was almost too afraid or too comfortable in this familiarity of being chained to these circumstances in this situation. So the first part of it was feeling trapped to this situation, feeling chained down to this circumstance and situation. The second part of it was fear of leaving that situation, fear of leaving that circumstance, because what if X, Y, and Z happens, but what if this happens, but what if I can't do this, or what if, all these different fears, fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of like being judged, and of the mistakes that I made, fear of being judged for that. Because sometimes it's like, if you're in a really bad relationship, for example, and you need to leave that relationship because it is hurting you, you could fear other people's judgment of like, how could you stay in that relationship? Like, if it was that bad, why didn't you leave? Or people who don't even know what's going on, who think the relationship is great, and then you leave it and you're trying to tell them like it actually wasn't, and they're like, but it never looked like that. You look so happy. You look like this and this and this. And it's like those fears can keep you trapped. And for me, that's kind of what it was. Like, that was the second part of it, is like fears of all these different things kept me trapped in these different circumstances and situations. And then using excuses to help me navigate that, or those excuses were still keeping me stuck. They're still keeping me chained down, but it almost made me feel a little bit better in the moment. Then I realized that actually those excuses weren't making me feel any better, because as soon as you say it, the excuse goes away, and then you're left feeling like, oh, but my life hasn't changed. Like, yeah, sure, that excuse seemed a little bit nice. It gave me a little comfort in that moment, but my life is still the same. Nothing has changed. And I'm still stuck in the same situation. So, like, those are kind of the things that came up to me when I was seeing the devil in these different tarot readings, and just like when I was really, really going through the thick of things in my journey. Another thing that came up to me with the Lovers is that the Lovers have creative power. The Devil does not. These two cards, by the way, the Lovers and the Devil, are very associated, like connected with each other. But the Lovers have creative power. So they don't allow fear to hold them back. Instead, they explore. They're open to exploring and to walking that path and to learning. And even if they end up coming across things that maybe scare them, that might be hard to navigate, they rely on their creative ability to overcome those situations. Whereas with the Devil, what happens is that you lose your creative power. Or rather, you don't lose it, you give it away. You give away your creative power to stay safe. But it's not a true sense of safety. You're not really safe. You're kind of in this illusion of safety. And in that illusion of safety, you can be trapped. And that's where, like, again, the Devil doesn't really have powers, but that's where the powers of the Devil could be seen, is like in entrapment, in trapping you. And really what happens is that you're trapped in your own mind. You're trapped in your own limiting beliefs. You're trapped in your own bubble of fear. And it's holding you back from creating the things that you want to create. Because of that, you can see in the card, the two people who are the same people on the Lovers, they're chained down to these limiting beliefs, and they're staying stuck in this situation and are unable to see the different options in front of them, the different creative ways to overcome their situation. Because if you notice, their hands are free. They could easily slip the chain off and move, but it's an illusion, and that illusion can sometimes become so real that we come to believe it. And that's where limiting beliefs also come in. Like, the illusions can become so real that we believe it. Like in the Lovers, you're being nurtured and nourished, and you're growing. With the Devil, you're not. You're lacking that nurture and that nourishment, so you're kind of like diminishing. Your light is diminishing, and you're not really growing in any way that helps you. Which is why, like, you'll notice with the Devil, everything is dark. And that's not to say that you should fear the dark, because you could still walk through the dark and learn a lot. That doesn't mean you have to fear the dark. The dark is not an evil thing. But what this kind of represents is that our light is diminished when we're stuck in these situations, when we continue to give our power away. Whereas with the Lovers, Lovers, on the other hand, you notice how there's so much light. And there's like nourishment, things are growing. Whereas in the Devil, like, nothing is growing there. I didn't intend for this video to include the Lovers, but I feel they are connected, so I felt like it was important to bring that up as well. The sun is shining, things are brighter, you have your power, so you feel better, you feel more in like alignment, and you just feel happier and satisfied and fulfilled. Whereas again, like, the Devil is just like you're stuck. Something else that I came to realize is that in my early years, like in my childhood, because I didn't have a secure attachment to any parent, like there was a lot of inner child wounds and a lot of childhood wounds that happened. you can sometimes enter this state of being chained down by that because you didn't have like a healthy understanding of attachment. Because the other aspect of the devil can be like unhealthy attachments to things that are not serving us, that are toxic, that are hurting us. But because that's all we've known, or that's where we find comfort, that's where we stay. So that's another layer that unlocked for me of like, because of that, those inner child wounds and not having that secure and healthy attachment, I ended up attaching myself to all these things that were hurting me. And I stayed there because that hurt felt more familiar and more comfortable than the ease and comfort of, and like, not to say that you never get hurt in life if you are in alignment. Like, no, those hurts can still happen, but you heal and move through it. You don't just sit in that hurt. Whereas in this situation, it's like you just sit in the hurt and you don't heal. You just kind of sit there like, what? Hello from my future editing self. So I totally lost my train of thought here and then never completed what I was saying. But I was trying to say that the hurt from unhealthy attachments can feel more comfortable than the ease and comfort or growth from healthy attachments, which is what can lead us to staying stuck. Now let's get back into the video. And you can move out of this situation. You can do that by taking your power back, by calling in your power, by no longer continuing to give it away, and by healing. Really, inner work is the key to this. Doing inner work will help you move through this if you are going through this time. Trust me, I understand it is difficult. It is not easy. It's frustrating. It's challenging. It's very like heavy on you and heavy on your heart sometimes. But just know that you have the power within you to get through it. And if you need to release through crying, through smashing something, like going into a smash room and just having at it, you know, like, or punching a punching bag or something like that. If you need to release in order to help you move out of this situation, you should do that. But inner work is definitely the key to this. Facing your shadows, sitting with your shadows and hearing them out. Like, I know there's so much out there, so much information out there that tries to make it seem like our shadows are something to fear. Why should we fear our shadows? A shadow only happens when there's light and dark. You can't have a shadow in pitch black. There would be no shadow there. And you can't have a shadow in pure light. Like there's no darkness, there's nothing there to create a shadow. So we shouldn't fear our shadows, and we also shouldn't fear the dark. We have light within us, and our light is a guiding light, so we can move through that dark. Those dark periods, those dark times, dark energies, whatever it is, we have the power to move through it. Nothing has power over us. I see this all over the internet nowadays where people like want to make it seem like we should be afraid of these things, but why? It's when you start to fear it that you start to put power into it. You give it that power over you when you fear it. But if you just don't fear it, and again, that's easier said than done, but once you stop fearing it, once you've done that work to no longer fear it and to embrace your light and dark, to embrace your shadows, to understand that you are more powerful than that, than anything that may come into your life. You have that power in you. Once you start to embrace that and understand that, none of these things hold anything against you, like hold any power over you. So while a fear might come up, it doesn't hold you to it. You don't get stuck in that fear. You don't get pulled down by that fear. It's like, no, I can recognize, okay, maybe there's this fear coming up. I'll work through this and I'll be okay. I felt like that was coming through strong. I don't know, Spirit has been just coming through in this video. I wasn't even expecting it to be like that. I just was like, oh, I'll just I feel called to make a video about the devil card and insight on this card. But there's so many things just came up right now. I really feel for you if you're going through this time, but I just want you to know that you have that light in you. You have that power, and you will get through it. It's hard, it's tough, but you will get through it. That's all I have for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll catch you in another video. Bye.